Duty. Do you know the meaning of the word Calliope?
I think so.
Well, let me tell you a story. Something that happened to me many seasons, many years ago.
Cyclops battered us, but our shields held firm. Spartans!
When we were deciding when and where to have this story take place, it was important to us to pick a very pivotal time in Kratos' life, one that we haven't seen before.
God of War Sons of Sparta takes place in Kratos' early days. He's a 13-year-old kid, and it's a story of he and his brother Deemos making their way in the Spartan Agoj.
The Agoj was a brutal place. It was a state-sponsored school that taught physical education as well as mental fortitude. They were deprived of food, the conditions were harsh, they were always training, and it wasn't just about psychological conditioning, it was also about ideological indoctrination.
Before there was this angry, vengeful Kratos, there was a young boy. And this is what we're focusing on in this game.
This young version of Kratos is very different than the Kratos that I think a lot of players know, but what was important to us was that you can see within him the future Kratoses, both the Spartan Kratos and the Norse era of Kratos.
Longtime God of War fans, the biggest thing that people are going to just be blown away by is the return of TC Carson to the character of Kratos.
I have lived as a warrior. I have died as a god, having suffered the ultimate sacrifice.
Daddy?
I really had no idea. I mean, I knew people really enjoyed the game, but I didn't understand what the character meant to people. It's still a lot for me, to be honest. I have people young and old coming up to me telling me what the game meant to them, how the rage that he felt, they felt, and they were able to channel that into the game. So it's a very humbling experience, all of it.
Megacat really embraced the idea of going to this era of God of War that players can learn a little bit more about Kratos before everything bad happened in his life.
It was interesting to be introduced to a character at a very pivotal, dramatic moment in his life. So it's an opportunity I have as an actor to go back and actually create who he was before the tragedy.
Even though the characters are made of pixels and hand-drawn on screen, doesn't mean you can't tell emotional stories. We don't do it in ways where you're sitting through like long cutscenes or anything like that, because that would be completely wrong for this style of game. But we're really bringing the mentality that we attach to the God of War games we've made over the last decade, we're bringing to this genre.
We definitely factored in TC's portrayal of Kratos, but because of the specifics of the story, we were able to show kind of a different side of him. This is him being the family man between wars. And obviously he's going to speak to his daughter very differently than when he's a vengeful god later in the series.
Mother sent you to punish me?
You said ugly things,
They were true.
yet still ugly.
So he's really trying to play mediator and peacekeeper, but teach her as well. And he's teaching her through stories of his past.
Well done, brother. Your tactics are improving.
Playing as a younger Kratos in Sons of Sparta is interesting because this is pre-god powers, but he does have a different relationship with the gods because of that. He has this sort of devout faith that comes up time and time again, and it also informs his relationship with Deemos.
How do we know that's a gift for us? What else is in here?
Look around.
Deemos' dynamic with Kratos is an interesting one here. Deemos, because things have always come easy to him, Kratos feels like he doesn't apply himself. Kratos wants to instill in him a greater sense of purpose and a greater sense of duty.
Deemos lacks discipline, Kratos. You know he does. He's looking to you for guidance, but you don't give it.
Kratos does everything by the book. He sees everything in black and white, whereas Deemos kind of sees more gray, tries to color outside the lines.
What if I didn't stay in the army? What if I wanted to fish or make music?
Then you would be a fool.
But I think he is a person who helps to hit at the emotional core a little bit more and push Kratos out of his comfort zone.
We convey the love that the brothers have with each other. They might fight with each other, but they still really care, and they would never let each other down.
Let me help you. I don't need your help.
Yes, you do.
Throughout the course of this story, Kratos is going to learn to question his assumptions. He's going to learn some emotional intelligence and begin to understand the complexities of loyalty and duty.
A Spartan warrior never lets his back hit the ground. Even in death, a Spartan stands tall for battle. You are a Spartan, are you not?
Yes, Kratos.
As an actor, a big question that you ask yourself is like, oh, what's a character that you would like to revisit and kind of follow that story? So I recognize how lucky I am. When I got the call to reprise the role of young Kratos, and in this game, there's just this journey of Kratos believing that he knows the way and he's doing everything right until he has to face that maybe he's not as sure as he once thought he was.
You know, I do listen to you. Sometimes I listen, but I don't hear. For that, I'm sorry.
And through the journey of this game, they both learn from each other. I think Kratos learns how to not take everything so seriously and learn that there is more to the world than the Agoj.
Well, that was by far the weirdest thing we've ever fought.
And I think Deemos learns that it's okay to be a little more focused and a little more disciplined.
What drew us to this story was that it was a chance to revisit a Kratos that we've never seen before, but also sort of look into the nooks and crannies of Greek mythology that we haven't explored before in the other games.
We also get to really surprise people, I think. There are going to be creatures that they've fought before, but they're going to get to fight them in a totally different way, a totally different genre, totally different style of game.
One of the interesting things about video games is that we get one more character in the narrative than anyone else does, and that's the player. And so it's very important to make sure the player is seeing the world through the character's eyes. And in a 2D game like this, it's more important than ever to do that.
UA sees the story come together from gray box and blank backgrounds, and then as the characters get added and the art gets added.
And then you get the cinematics and the VO. It's incredible watching these really talented artists push God of War into really cool areas that haven't been seen before.
You want your gameplay to feel native to the world, but you want the world to also feel native to your gameplay and your storytelling especially. And I think we really hit that gap nicely with Sons of Sparta. You see Kratos exploring the world of Laconia in a way that players haven't been able to see before, and you don't see him as the revenge clashing against the gods fueled man. You see him embracing the gifts of the Olympian gods that really guides him to becoming stronger, to becoming Kratos.
Barracks, now. No shortcuts.
What I'm hoping for when it comes to God of War Sons of Sparta is that fans of the genre are going to get to play this title and really get affected by a deeply emotional story.
It's interesting to know what we know about this story. And with God of War Sons of Sparta, you get to see kind of glimpses of how Kratos gets to where he eventually gets to.
Anger just doesn't happen. Things happen to make those things happen. Kratos was not like that before this tragedy happened to him. And in order to understand the anger, you have to understand the love. And I think you'll get that from his stories and his interactions with Calliope.